Alright, so about 6 months ago I made a retouching video, and I've kind of changed and updated the things that I do, so let's just get straight into it. So I do all of my color grading and corrections in Capture One. My sharpening, everything's done through Capture One. So that was the original, that's how I shot it. I shoot it very warm, and I shoot in classic chrome, so the JPEGs tend to look way different than what the RAWs look like when they're imported to Capture One. So let's do auto on the white balance, and okay, so that's what it would normally look like. And then after the edit, did the base adjustments, some contrast control and more fine tunings, and then just a light warmth layer on top of that. So I'll make another video about the color grading, but again, this is for retouching. So usually from there, I double click or right click. I do edit with 8-bit, Adobe, blah, 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 basically full resolution, and then Adobe Photoshop. So I wish there was an even cheaper option to have Photoshop and not have it bundled up with Lightroom, because I'm never using Lightroom again. I made another video about that. All right, so we're in here. Now I've made an action for my retouching setup. So let me just play this. So you see, this group right here is a frequency separation. If you don't know how to do frequency separation, just YouTube it. There's tons of awesome videos. My favorite is by Flern. I'll add a link at the bottom to that video. On top of that, I'd add a desaturation and a levels adjustment. And if you look, I crushed the levels. That's just to help you see what parts need to be done. It basically enhances all the imperfections. So you see on her leg, there's some like weird lines on there right over here. So we crashed down Airbnb for this photo shoot, and we had maybe like 4 hours of sleep because we shot that night too. And then I forced her to get up so we could shoot sunrise stuff. So she might have been a little tired. So you see there's a little bit of bags under her eyes. That's common. It's like you're a human, you're gonna have bags under your eyes. So yeah, again, just that black and white layer you see just kind of helps you focus on where you need to adjust things. So I do everything inside the frequency separation. So let's start with dodge and burn. So I'm just gonna add a curves adjustment. I'm gonna bump this all the way up. I'm gonna go back to the mask. I'm gonna click Command I, and that just inverts it. So this isn't doing anything to it. Now, the biggest secret to bomb retouching is a Wacom tablet. You need to get one of these if you want to take retouching serious, because you'll see in a second. So I'm gonna get my brush tool. It's a standard brush tool, nothing fancy. A harness all the way down. The size, I'm gonna adjust the size. You can adjust the brush size when using the Wacom tablet by just using the little bracket keys. I'm gonna click Z, zoom in, B, back to my brush, click that bracket tool. And let's just start painting into this. So I can hear my roommate's dog barking. It's a good old guard dog. Right there doing construction outside the house, so he barks all day. So yeah, so you see we're just going through brushing things. So a little bit right here. So one thing is a lot of people stayed super zoomed in to do dodge and burning, and that's how you end up overdoing it. So the trick is to zoom back out, and then you could kind of see it's not the tiny brushes that help. It's like the overall, the big blotchiness parts. So that's one thing, is like a lot of people do the frequency separation like the typical way, and the skin, yeah, it looks smooth, but it just looks blotchy because they're skipping this dodge and burning part. This is how you get like that silky looking skin, you know, the perfect skin. Which I know there's a lot of debate over that, but for me, as a fashion photographer, I want to kill as many distractions as possible. And I think imperfections are beautiful. So when it comes to blemishes and lighting and cameras and all that, like in person, someone's skin won't look bad. And then you shoot them on a digital camera and it looks horrible. That's the camera's fault. It's just, that's how digital is. When you shoot with film, skin looks gorgeous. The skin tones look gorgeous. Even if someone has really bad acne and you shoot them with film, it tends to blend because that film can't pick up all those reds and yellows and everything in between, so it kind of gets pushed into one thing. That's why the skin tones look so nice. On digital cameras, it's picking up every freaking tone and it's just making it look worse than it does in real life. So usually with dodge burning, you can go in here and you see like there's a little more blotchy spots in here, but I don't think I'm good enough with dodge burning to do that, so I go into airbrushing after that. But let's just go into, yeah, like all this I'm probably just gonna do airbrushing for. So let's do a before and after on this part so far. So before and after in dodge and burning, it's not like a whole lot. See, it took like a few minutes. Let's turn that off. See, already, like I think that by itself would be fine to pass on. So one thing that's bugging me is you see right here in her cheek, that's like a natural line from like her face structure, and I painted it out, so I'm gonna go paint that back in because I actually like that. I want to keep that in there. So I just got my brush tool, changed it back to black, and I just erased it off that mask. Let's do a little bit more right here. Cool, I like that now. All right, so I'm gonna merge that. I'm gonna right click and do merge down back into that bottom frequency separation layer. Now I'm gonna click Command J, it's gonna duplicate that layer. I'm gonna click L for my lasso tool, my feather set to 12, and let's see if this works for this photo. I'm gonna circle that part, go to blur, Gaussian blur, put this to like 19. So again, this is what most people, when they learn about frequency separation, they start using it. This is like the first step they go to, and they skip the whole dodge and burning. Dodge and burning is like there's a learning curve in the beginning of it, but it's totally worth it to use it. Circle that. So you see, let's see what's doing right here. See, now that we did dodge and burning, it's just blending in the highlights into those shadows and everything in between. It just kind of smooths it all out. It's not keeping it blotchy. We're gonna do it up here. Like, frequency separation can't be the only thing you use. Can't be lazy with it if you want it to look the best of the best. So yeah, I'm just clicking Command Control F just to repeat the Gaussian blur, so you don't have to keep going back up to there to repeat it. See, so usually I actually wouldn't do that on the legs, but for this photo it works out well. But you see, okay, yeah, the leg looks smooth, but it still looks really blotchy. So I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna go and merge it down. Now, here's the cool part. So I'm gonna create a new empty layer. So I just click that down there. Now I'm gonna get my brush tool. Let's start with the leg. Zoom in a little bit more. Click the brush tool. Now you see there's a dark part here, a bright part here, like a mid area here. There's some shadow there. It goes back in the mids and then dark shadows. So I just want to smooth all that out. So I'm gonna click B, and then I'm gonna click Option. I'm gonna sample this lighter part right there, and I'm just gonna paint lightly, very lightly. So this is airbrushing right here. This is how you get that blotchiness away. And again, since we're doing inside the frequency separation, we're not killing the texture out. That's the trick to this. Let's go now and sample there. Sample here. Wait, I want it to be a little darker. So this takes a lot of just like, you just got to get in there and do it, and you tend to find out what works best and what doesn't. And yeah, again, there's no secret recipe. I'm sure a lot of people wish there was just like a plugin to do it. A lot of people do that, and it looks decent, but so now let's just, there's still some blotchiness, but just for now, let's zoom out, and then, so you see that? That's how you get that silky smooth right there, and there's still texture in there. Now, some people might not like that, because you could tell there's muscles in her leg, and I've kind of taken them out, so I'm actually, let's go paint some more back in. You just gotta be real subtle when you do this kind of stuff though, because that's when you see that. That's when it starts looking fake. Okay, come on. There it goes. Go back in. Paint a little bit over this. Now I'm gonna go over, get like a mid-tone. I'm just gonna lightly paint over the whole thing. Let's get more of that. So see, I'm starting to do too much now, so you'll see what I'll do in a second. Yeah, I could just sit here all day just retouching one photo. So I gotta decide when it's time to move on. So that's before and after. So you see I did a lot to it, kind of did too much. So now I'm gonna create a mask. I'm gonna click B for my brush, and then I put my color to black. So I'm just going the edges right here. I'm gonna delete some of those adjustments off just to, so it doesn't, okay, you see that? It looks much better. So we could do the opacity, lower it a little bit. I'm gonna keep it up though, I like it. So I'm gonna go down, merge that down. Another new layer. I'm just gonna lightly blend this part in a little bit more. Command Z that. Don't wanna affect these shadow lines right there. Before and after that, I dig it. So again, right click, merge down. The whole point of Photoshop is it's non-destructive, so you're not really supposed to be merging it down like that, but I don't know, I like to keep it super clean. Otherwise I start losing things and it takes too long to label stuff, so I guess I'm lazy with that. So you see I sampled from the lightest part. I'm just painting in. You see up here the forehead, all blotchy from the light. Again, that's not her skin, that's just the camera, you know? It happens. There it goes. Now it looked like it did in real life. So I'm gonna sound from here, blend this in, sound from there. So you see, there's not like an actual science to it. It's kind of like art. You just gotta learn what works and what doesn't. So if you're a painter, you'll probably be a really bomb retoucher. I try to paint. People say it looks artistic, but that's because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of throwing paint on there. Kind of same thing here, I guess. Smooth that out. See her neck. That's what a lot of people skip, the neck. The face will look bomb, and then you look at the neck, and the neck is just like all destroyed from the camera. So you can't skip the neck. Here. My laptop fans are blowing. I have an iMac right in front of me, but my MacBook Pro is a little newer and a little more quicker. Let's see what all this looks like before and after that. Ah, it's looking good. But you see that line up here is looking kind of weird, so I'm going to click back into my brush. Now let's just blend. Let's get the darkest part of her skin and then just blend that out. Command Z that. Actually, let me do this on a new layer so then I could blend it with opacity. Let's see how that looks. There's still a bit of a hard line. I'm digging that. Okay, let's again before let's merge these. Let's Command J this layer again. Go back into our lasso tool and let's see if, yep, you see, so that blended it a little better. Up and raise the opacity, right click, march back down. All right, so I would pretty much stop there. Wait, hang on, I lied. So you see there's some blotchiness right there on her jawline, so let's create a new layer. Let's go to brush. Oh, Command Z that, didn't mean to. It's hard, you gotta, again, it's like painting. You gotta do that perfect swipe, you know? Slower the flow, opacity a little bit more. Be more subtle with these brush strokes. Look, I was about to wrap up and look at me. Going in on this photo. So you see there's this like hard line right in her jawline. I'm gonna try to blend that. There you go, perfect. So let's see. Not a huge difference, but to me it's enough. But up here it got a little darker. So let's mask that out. Cool. Okay, let's merge this. Now I'm gonna click Command J again, and then I'm just gonna go and blend in some more of these pieces. So again, I'm just applying Gaussian blur. Oh, Command Z that. That's one thing when you're doing this lasso tool. You gotta make sure you get the parts you want and not include parts like this, because it will blend it together with it. All right, let's merge this down. Let's zoom in a little bit. So you see, she has a tiny bit of blemishes. It's not bad. Couldn't see it in person, but again, I was shooting a really hard light, and that's what happens. Just makes the skin, just like brings out all the texture. So I went up to my texture layer, got my stamp tool, go click sample, and I'm gonna sample from a spot that has texture still. I don't want it to look smooth. Being overly smooth is not good. That's when they start looking like mannequins. See up here, there's a little bit more marks up there, so create one more dodge layer. B for my thing. All right, so this looks, I'm 20 minutes into this. Still a little bit more. All right, I'm happy with this. Let's merge this down. So let's see the before and after. So this is before, and that's after. Before, after. So one thing that's bugging me is I kind of flattened her cheek out a little bit too much. So I'm gonna go actually and just create a mask right here. I'm gonna blend. I'm gonna erase some of this. Let's see what that looks like. A bit more. There we go. So don't be scared to do that, you know? I don't want it to look like too perfect. I want it to look realistic still. So I'm just gonna keep it right there. Let me delete this. I'm gonna click Command Option Shift E. That's gonna merge the layers and create like a new layer without actually merging them. So I'm gonna click Command J, just repeat that. I'm gonna go into Filter, go to Filter Gallery, Film Grain. So this is like my little secret right here. This is where I get my photos to get a little bit of a pop. So if you see, you can go in and add grain, but it lifts the shadows up. I used to do that a lot, but now that I'm using Capture One, my coloring is pretty much like exactly how I want it. So I'm just gonna go up here to my intensity and click up, and you see it just pops those highlights. So I'm just keep it there. I'm not gonna mess with anything else. I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna lower the opacity a little bit, just gives it a little bit of a pop. So I'm just gonna save that, Command S. It's gonna go straight back into Capture One. So yeah, let's see the before and after. Oops. So this is the before, and that's the after the retouch. I'm just gonna go over and I'm just gonna add grain. So again, I just go over into, I use Capture One's presets that come with the program. That's what I use for my grain. Choppy, I like the distinct. All right, and that's it, that's done. Bada bing, bada boom. So you see, it took me a little bit. I know this video saying it's been 20 minutes so far. Usually this probably would take me 10 minutes. So when you models are begging for photos and asking me what's taking so long, it takes me 10 to 20 minutes to retouch a photo, and that doesn't count the coloring that it takes too. So be patient, please. But yeah, guys, if you have any questions, just let me know. You can, again, comment on here. You could DM me on Instagram. I'll be making more. If you have any requests for certain kind of photos, just let me know. I'll also be making a color grading video from a couple of the shots from this shoot too, so stay tuned. Peace.